All righty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of Roundabout Sports, presented by Filthy Games Room, located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard and Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession. It has been a little bit of a crazy technical issue night. It is episode 97 of Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Carp here, July 31st, 2024. It's going to be a little bit of a different show tonight. No special guest on tonight. I will say, to start off the show, I want to say this. Next Monday, which is on August the 5th, we are having a special edition of Roundabout Sports, which will feature Todd Blackstock. He will be our special guest on the show. So be sure to tune in for that. That'll be episode 98, August 5th at 7 p.m. So definitely keep tabs on that one, folks. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in on our YouTube channel for those that are tuning in on YouTube. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay, thank you. All right, perfect. There's a lot of things that have been going on lately. And, you know, the Cardinals, it's been interesting. Tommy Pham comes over to the St. Louis Cardinals once again via a trade, a 3-team trade. If anybody tuned into Hollywood James Knox's story about it just last night, Tommy Pham last night came back to the Cardinals, and in his first game back and his first at-bat back, Tommy Pham hit a grand slam to give the Cardinals an 8-1 lead. And thank you, Babs, for tuning in. Thank you. She does such amazing work for us here at I-70. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have her. And the man himself from the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, Jimmy Harris. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for tuning in. Always a pleasure to have you viewing the show every single week. Like I said, it's going to be a little different, probably going to be a much shorter episode than usual, but that's okay because trust me, folks, the next few weeks are going to be absolutely busy. You know, next Monday we have Todd Blackstock on the show. As far as the 14th, we have Michael Langston on episode 99 from KMOX. And as of now, on episode 100, we have Andy Heckroth, Cardinals writer, and there's another surprise in store for that episode. We'll keep tabs on that. And then on August 28th, this was just announced not too long ago, folks. Former Cardinal and World Series champion Adrian Chambers will be a special guest on the show. So I am definitely excited for that. That being said, look, the Cardinals, like I said, Tommy Pham pinch hit grand slam last night. And it was absolutely crazy. It was a 2-2 pitch. The crowd went absolutely wild. 32,395 fans were in attendance that evening, and they gave him a curtain call, big standing ovation. It was just wonderful to see for Tommy Pham's sake. He left under controversial circumstances. People questioned his attitude, but the guy has a great heart for the game of baseball and is very talented. And you know what? It's great to see him back on a winning team again because guess what? Right now, the Chicago White Sox are 27-84. They're over 40 games. They're 40 games out of first place, folks. Keep that in mind. It is July 31st, and the Chicago White Sox have already lost 84 games. You still got all of August, all of September, and then the beginning of October to go. Now, I will say, let's see. I'm trying to think of the 2018, I believe it was, Baltimore Orioles, when they went 47 and 115. Um, Meanwhile, the 2003 Detroit Tigers went 43 and 119. So those are the two teams that we really got to watch out for, folks, as far as for the Chicago White Sox. Nevertheless, Tommy Pham also had a great day today. 2 RBIs, 3 hits. Fantastic return to St. Louis so far. Hey, David Owen, thank you so much for tuning in, David. I really appreciate it. For those tuning in, normal for some reason Facebook copyright striked us, and I sent an appeal to them, but you know what? There ain't nothing. We own the copyrights to Roundabout Sports and I-70 and all that. So I don't know what the hell Facebook's thinking, but it is what it is. Next week we'll be back on Facebook on all of our pages. But until then, we are here on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Wrestle Talk Podcasts platforms. And we're going to start uploading our episodes as well on Instagram. And yes, Babs, it was fantastic, if you will. So, yes, Tommy Pham made his return. Cardinals won yesterday. They won today. Big series win over the Texas Rangers. Right now, the Cardinals sit 5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers for first place in the National League Central. Now, I will want to say that there is a bit of breaking news that happened not too long ago. Lance Lynn, starting pitcher, did go on the 10-day IL. That creates, Michael McCreevy did a fantastic job today with his first start with the Cardinals. He pitched 7 innings. Couldn't ask more of that. He allowed 1 run, struck out 3. So, I mean, overall, great job for the young former first-round pick. That said, Cardinals got a plethora of bullpen help and starters. They got Eric Leddy in the trade, and they got Sean Armstrong in a trade that involved trading away Dylan Carlson. If you want full trade deadline coverage, folks, I do recommend that you go to the I-70 Sports Media Facebook page. Take a look at James Knox's Turn Into podcast special on the trade deadline. It is a show that'll start airing, I believe, August either the 22nd or August 28th. I believe the 22nd, though. It will be at noon on every Thursday Central Time. It'll be a great way to recap the series in a baseball that just happened and previewing the upcoming one. So it's a good show that he'll be doing. So I guarantee you don't want to miss it. So that being said, there's a lot of other things I want to talk about. First off, a big congratulations to the United States for their continuing amazing performance at the Summer Olympics. Now, right now, the U.S. leads all countries in medals with 30 total medals. That said, they are currently ranked 7th overall because based on gold medals, they only have 5 gold medals, whereas China leads with 9 gold medals. Meanwhile, this is nice. Okay, okay. Got to make something clear here, folks. This is a interesting little tidbit about me. I was actually born in the country of Georgia, which is in Eurasia. So it's kind of in the border of Turkey and Russia and everything. So I was born there. So I kind of have a little bit of a bias, if you will, towards them. So I want to see them do well. Well, they've got a gold medal and a silver medal. So I'll take it when they only have 28 athletes and the U.S. has 592. But, Right now, China leads 9 gold medals. They have 19 total medals. The home country, France, 8 gold medals, 26 total medals. The United States, 5 gold medals, 30 total medals. And the biggest story coming out of the U.S. Is the gymnastics team. I think it goes without saying, um, you know, Simone Biles leading the way for the women's gymnastics team, but it's not just um, Simone Biles. It's a fantastic team all around her. Jordan Childs, Suni Lee, just all around. They win the gold medal in one of the gymnastics events. And give me 1 second. I know one of them was I know the men also had won a gold medal in gymnastics as well, I believe. Give me 1 sec. There we go. I just had to double check, but yes. The Americans, they coasted yet another Olympic gold medal last night, Tuesday night. They were nearly 6 points ahead of Italy, who finished with the silver medal. But I mean, let's face it, it wasn't really close. And the team is they're considered the greatest gymnastics team in the world, even before the Olympics. Jade Carey did a fantastic job. Like I said, Jordan Childs, Suni Lee, all around everything, it paid off tremendously. So I'm beyond excited for them. It's great seeing these American athletes pour their heart and soul into I love the Olympics. Okay, I got YouTube TV. I love watching the foreign picture, like where there's 4 different events going on one screen. I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic way to just keep track of everything. There's so many events. Be sure to tell me in the comments some of your favorite events in the Summer Olympics. I'm sure there'll be some interesting ones in there. And the sight of it being in Paris is just phenomenal. Now, I'm trying to think if the Winter Olympics will be in, the 2034 Winter Olympics are going back to Salt Lake City. And I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of want to go to that. I've never obviously been to an Olympics event. This may come as a surprise to some of you. I wasn't born in 1904. I was not in St. Louis when the Olympics happened. So I've never really gotten a chance. I would love to go. I don't know if I'd go to Los Angeles in 2028, but hell, maybe go to Milan. Who knows? Bottom line is, I love the Olympics. It's great to watch. And I hope you are enjoying it too. With that said, tomorrow, another sport is coming back. That being the NFL, folks. That's right. Tomorrow night, the Hall of Fame game will be taking place. It's Hall of Fame weekend. And the Hall of Fame game will be taking place in Canton, Ohio. It'll be the Houston Texans taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams for the Bears, quarterback, will not be playing, nor will any other Bears starters. But that's fine. Last year, the Cleveland Browns didn't really have any starters play in the Hall of Fame game, and I just enjoyed the hell out of that game regardless. But it's great. Hall of Fame weekend for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful time. And, there's one story I definitely want to share. And it's about, his name's Steve McMichael. His nickname is Mongo. So Mongo he was a former defensive tackle for the Chicago Bears. Won the 1985 Super Bowl with them in Super Bowl 20. Big part of that Monsters on the Midway defense. Unfortunately, a few years ago, he was diagnosed with ALS. And because of that, it's just gotten progressively worse, like ALS does. And he tried to travel to the Pro Football Hall of Fame ceremony, but he's just unable to. So what the Pro Football Hall of Fame has decided to do is that they will be coming to him. So Hall of Fame president Jim Porter will head to McMichael's home in the Chicago suburb of Homer Glen on this Saturday, to present the star D tackle with a gold jacket, excuse me, and his Hall of Fame bust. Being there at the Hall of Fame ceremony at his home will be his wife, Misty, their daughter, Macy, and Hall of Fame former Bears teammates Richard Dent and Jimbo Covert. And apparently there is supposed to be a slew of other Chicago Bears expected to be there as well, for a private celebration, such as Emery Moorhead, Jim Osborne, and Tom Thayer. So McMichael's 66 years old. He played 13 years in the NFL. He actually played in 191 straight games. And, it's a shame about what's going on with his health, but it is just so fantastic. And for those that don't know, Mongo is actually a commentator and a professional wrestler as well for World Championship Wrestling, which is kind of cool to think about, after his playing career had ended. And Bab says, quote, "I'm happy for Mongo. I am too. It's a well-deserved attribute or an accomplishment for him. I am just so grateful to see him get this opportunity. So kudos to Mongo indeed." With that said, we're going to continue now on Roundabout Sports. Before we do, though, I want to talk a little bit about Filthy Games Room. Okay, folks. So Filthy Games Room, excuse me, is located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard in St. Charles, Missouri. They have the largest collection of retro and modern video games, ranging all the way back to the Magnavox Odyssey of the 1970s, up to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and Nintendo Switch of 2024. On top of that, there are there's monthly giveaways. There's a nice Patreon program that you can become a member of to get discounts off games and free shipping. As you can see here, it's always a big crowd on hand. And if you enter the front of the store, there's a bunch of free-to-play vintage arcade machines all functioning. And I'm telling you right now, Ben Bizzle is a fantastic guy. Ari is a fantastic woman who works there. They got a lot of other new people coming in. So be sure to check them out. It is a great... It's a stress reliever for me. I'll tell you that much right now. And we got AJ Wallace tuning in. He says, quote, "Steve McMichael wrestled Goldberg and had a great rivalry in WCW. Goldberg said he's proud of him and his accomplishments." That's something you love to hear, from a wrestling legend to a football legend. So that's great. I'm very happy to hear. And you know what? I'm grateful that Mongo is alive to be a part of his induction. It is such a debilitating disease, ALSs, and he has to use a computer to speak now. And it's just one of those very heartbreaking things. And our thoughts are always with him and his family as they get through this together. So that's with what's going on with Mongo and the Hall of Fame. That said, we're going to continue now here on Roundabout Sports. And, I want to say this because, we talk all the time about the what ifs. Oh, hang on. Babs is saying, quote, "Do you remember what dog you had on Nitro? LOL." I actually don't. If one of the other viewers that's tuning in live knows a thing or two about Steve McMichael's dog, feel free to let me know. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Angels announced that they have shut down the rehab for star outfielder Mike Trout with a recent setback in his recovery from meniscus surgery. He had surgery on May 3rd. He had surgery on May 3rd to repair the torn meniscus in his left knee. Now, they don't reveal how much more time that the 11-time All-Star is going to miss. He's a 3-time MVP. He's one of the best players of my lifetime. But injuries have really started to creep back up. He's 32 years old. He has a .299 career batting average. He has 378 career home runs. But, right now, listen to these accolades. He's an 11-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, 3-time All-First Team at MLB, Rookie of the Year, 9-time Silver Slugger, Hank Aaron Award winner multiple times. And is it just me, or is it the fact that, he's missing something? Oh, that's right. A World Series appearance. A World Series ring, for that matter. Hell, an NLCS or an ALCS appearance. Or an NL. It doesn't matter. The Angels have wasted so many years of so many great players over the past 15 years. They wasted a lot of years from Albert Pujols. They wasted Shohei Ohtani's a lot of his years. And they've done the same to Mike Trout because the team is just so poorly run. They can't get a decent team in general. They have stars, but at the same time, when you have that one or two shining stars, but the rest of the universe is crappy, it doesn't change the fact that it's poor. It's piss poor team. We talk about the Angels, and yes, Babs, he has seen the playoffs at all, but it's not been a frequent thing. Now, let me just put in perspective. Keep in mind, this is July 31st, folks. So as of July 31st, the Seattle Mariners lead the division with a 57-53 record. The Angels are 8.5 games back with a 47-60 record. Meanwhile, the Oakland Athletics, soon to be the Sacramento Athletics, and soon after that to be the Vegas Athletics, are 45-64, which means, if anything, the A's are creeping up on the Angels, and the Angels will be in the cellar of the American League West yet again. And in his first 29 games this season, Trout hit 10 home runs and had an .867 OPS. The problem is injuries are killing Trout. In the past 5 seasons, he hasn't been able to play in more than 119 games in a 162-game season in any of the past 5 years. Meanwhile, this year, he is making $37.1 million. The next 6 seasons, each year, he will be making $37.1 $6.1 million. He had signed a 12-year, $426.5 million contract with the Angels. It is the second largest contract I believe, in professional sports. I know for sure, because the thing with Pat Mahomes is, I know Ohtani's contract definitely passed him up. It's the second biggest contract in all time at the time. But, okay. So, right now, I'm going to put this in perspective. It's the sixth largest in the world. Right now, Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers has the largest contract. It's a 10-year, $700 million contract. He makes $70 million a year, which, want to be honest, is about $432,000 per game he plays. And it goes on till 2033. Then you got Lionel Messi, who makes $674 million over 4 years. And it's, oh God, I don't even want to look at the rest of it. Okay. Now, I want to put in perspective Pat Mahomes. Mahomes signed a 10-year, $450 million contract. But what people need to understand about Mahomes' contract is that there is a lot of incentives. I mean, there is a lot of incentives that are placed. So, yeah, there's things he's not allowed to do. And Bab says, quote, stupid money on stupid contracts. I mean, it's not exactly wrong. I think a lot of these athletes, it's crazy. So, that this money just gets thrown around. And then the owners wonder why they don't get certain money, or then they come asking the taxpayers for money. Yeah, Mike Trout, fantastic player. And I still think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But when you miss at least 45 games over the past individual 5 seasons, like 45 games per season, that's going to start adding up to you. And it's going to have a lot of detractors. So we don't know if he's going to come back and even play this year. We'll definitely keep track of all that for sure. Goodness gracious. Meanwhile, let's take a look. So I wanted to read over some of excuse me. I wanted to read about the U.S. Olympic basketball team. So I want to give a credit to the United States men's basketball team, as they beat the South Sudan basketball team 103-86 as they move on to next week's quarterfinals. And Jason Tatum was benched in the first game, but he's moved into the starting lineup, and Joel Embiid didn't even play. Meanwhile, Kevin Durant scored 14 points in the game. Derek White of the NBA champion Celtics put in 10 points and 3 steals and a block. There's a lot of good players on this team, and they are obviously the absolute favorites to win the gold medal, as a lot of American athletes and American sports teams are. I think it's almost kind of just been historic at this point that men's basketball in America has just dominated. But what's interesting to me, and I want to tell you right now, I do think the Dream Team of 1992 is arguably the greatest team of athletes you could possibly have assembled, let alone just the greatest basketball team. But there was something that I realized. I was doing some research a few days ago, and this had come to my mind. And that is, if you take a look at the international talent that the other countries in the world in the Olympics had. In 1992, the Dream Team faced 9 NBA players from other teams internationally. There were just 9 international players, or 9 NBA players on international teams. This year, in 2024, 61 NBA players are representing international teams in some way, straight, or form. And I think it's a great way of showcasing the international expansion of basketball. It was very American driven for such a long time, and now, you see Luka Doncic, you see Nikola Jokic, you see Giannis, you see a lot of great international players representing their home countries in the Olympics. And I really think it's a great thing. I do find it extremely crazy that in 1992 there was only 9, but the number is only going to go up as time goes on. Meanwhile, Jimmy Harris says, quote, "They need to pay me to be a referee, LOL. Wonder if I could do it in a ride around." I think they would be totally fine, paying you for that. Depends on what they would pay you, but it's pretty good. Now, I'm still waiting to see what some people's favorite Olympic sports are. Because I'm not going to lie, obviously I watched my late grandma's favorite was gymnastics. That was her favorite. I mean, that might have been her favorite sport, let alone favorite Olympic sport. But she loved the gymnastics. Summer Olympics, my favorite is track and field. That's just me being a former track and field athlete. But the badminton cracks me up. You got volleyball. Swimming is great. I know a lot of my cousins are big swimmers in competitive swimming, which I think is great. So, I mean, I also have cousins who did water polo competitively. So, I mean, there's another great one. And, I'm too damn short for water polo. I'm only 5'5", so. But all that being said, it's fantastic. I love that this team, or the American Olympic team in general, is just really having a great time right now in Paris. The Olympics seem to be going really well for everybody. Like I said, right now, no new changes in the medal counts. Everything seems to be staying the same as it was at the top of the show. And I will say that right now, I'm trying to see. We're gonna find some random countries and give you guys some. Oh, Crime Fighter tuning in, saying StreamYard. Yep, this is on StreamYard. I will say though, you can find Roundabout Sports. We are on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast. When we air live on our I-70 Sports Media YouTube channel, on Twitch, on my personal Twitch, which is JCarp32 Squad. We're on Wrestle Talk Podcast. We are on the Roundabout Sports Facebook page, but for some reason, Facebook decided to screw with us today. But we're going to make sure that don't happen again, folks. Don't you worry. Meanwhile, you know what? Okay, let's just find some random countries and find out where they rank. Like I already said, I said the U.S., Georgia, China. All right, Canada. Our friendly neighbors from the north who got penalized for spying in the Olympics. They are currently in 9th place with 2 gold medals, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. Sweden. Sweden's in 12th place, 4 total medals. Let's go to our friendly neighbors down south in Mexico. Mexico has 2 total medals. Ukraine has 1 total medal. Oh my goodness gracious. I'll find a random one. You know what? Okay. Here, I got one. Fiji. That's right, Fiji. Fiji has 1 silver medal. And for anyone wondering where the hell Fiji is, well, quite frankly, Fiji is just east of Australia, southwest of Hawaii. It's considered the Republic of Fiji, but it's an island country. So just a random tidbit of information for you there. There's your happy geography lesson, courtesy of the Maestro. That said, I want to also give a shout out to Hollywood James Knox, who a couple weeks ago made his return. He will be back in a few weeks, and he's going to be launching a new show that I'm going to shamelessly plug because, you know, why the hell not? He's my friend, and he's my partner in crime, so I have to. I almost have to at this point. The name of the show is called the Turn Into podcast, or you want to properly call it Turn Into with James Knox. I want to give Babs credit because it's deservedly so, for the logo for the podcast that she designed. So this is the logo for the show. It'll air every Thursday at noon Central. It'll cover whatever the previous series in baseball was, and it'll recap the previous series and preview the upcoming series at the time of the airing of the show. I will say it was a great show to listen to when I was driving home yesterday, so I definitely enjoyed it, and I think you will enjoy it too, folks. He pours his heart and soul into everything he does. He is one of the biggest workhorses I know, that's for damn sure. So be sure to tune in. It'll be airing in a few weeks, its first episode, but also go back and tune into his previous trade deadline specials. You wonder why I haven't really talked much MLB Trade Deadline? James covered a whole bunch of that last night, through the wire, like near the end of it. And I just figured, he did it justice more than I even could have. I will say that one Tommy leaves, that being Tommy Edman, and one Tommy comes back, that being Tommy Pham. And as I said at the top of the hour, Tommy Pham has done phenomenal so far, so it's paid off perfectly. For those just tuning in, yes, this is Roundabout Sports. We're nearing the 40-minute mark of our show. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp. It's July 31st, 2024. We are on episode 97, folks. And we are literally just 3 more episodes away from episode 100. I can't tell you how excited I am. And just tuning in now is our dear friend Herb Simmons. Herb Simmons, one of the great minds of professional wrestling. He might as well be called him Mr. Encyclopedia. And you want to talk about great personalities? Big Hoss is tuning in. John Hoss from the Wrestle Talk podcast is tuning in. Thank you so much, Hoss. One thing about a show with a milestone, in fact, the Wrestle Talk podcast is just a few weeks away from, and I can't wait because I'm a part of it, episode 500. Now, I'm telling you, to do a show about once a week on building it all the way up to 500, that is incredible. That is really quite an accomplishment in and of itself. So I'm grateful. Herb, Hoss, tell me some of your favorite Olympic events we were talking about the Olympics earlier, and I really would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the matter. So, with all that said, we're going to continue now on Roundabout Sports. As I want to say, and Crime Fighter says that's a lot of platforms to manage. Let me tell you, we manage a lot of platforms here at Interstate 70 Sports Media. There's a lot of platforms we have to manage. We do our very best with the team we have. We got a lot of passionate folks. And that's the best I can say for right now, but we're always aiming and looking to grow. Herb says, quote, "It's a great accomplishment." And absolutely is. Whoops. Don't know what that was, but something just happened. But yes, it is a great accomplishment. Okay. Now I got to talk about something. I didn't get a chance to talk about it in the past couple weeks. I got to talk about NCAA 25, the video game. And oh wow, we got Rap Sheet tuning in. Now, if that is there is no way it is the actual Ian Rappaport, but if it was, I would feel proud and honored. Nevertheless, I do want to say, yes, Jimmy, Babs, Barbie Ann is a very great lady and does a lot that people don't know about. Thank you for everything you do. That's the best way I could describe it. And Rap Sheet, quote, the 1991 Nintendo Campus Challenge champion. So a hardcore gamer. Oh, you switched from YouTube to Twitch. Okay. Well, nevertheless, it's just wonderful. Baz, we love you to death. You've done so much for us, and we know you want to keep doing this. I know you left for a bit, and you didn't know if we would welcome you back, and I told you, of course, that you would be welcome back. And I know there's someone watching this show from afar that will as well. Rap Sheets says, quote, "And I'll see you Saturday." You know what? Now I know exactly who that is. Okay. Yeah. That's not Ian Rappaport, and that's okay. I know exactly who it is, and that's okay. Steve, it's good to see you. I am excited to see you on Saturday. Yes, it did take me a while. I was wondering. Okay, well, when I see Rap Sheet, it says Ian Rappaport. Okay. ADHD side talk aside, we got to get to some news here, folks. NCAA Football 25 is one of the most hyped up video games in years. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to give my review here. I'm not one to do many game reviews. I would love to. AVGN is one of my favorite YouTubers ever. But I'm telling you right now, folks, it is worth every penny that you would spend on it as far as to buy the game. So you get to play as all 134 FBS teams, which right in of itself there is a fantastic thing to do, have. And this is a cover of the game. You see Donovan Edwards, Travis Hunter, Quentin Ewers as the cover athletes, and a whole plethora of other great athletes. And the biggest thing in this game is the fact that the NIL deal, so actual players are in this game. It's not running back number 5 or quarterback number 16 or things like that. You got actual players. So for you Mizzou fans out there, you can play as Brady Cook throwing dimes to Luther Burden. My brothers and I are in a dynasty mode, which is essentially, and yes, Babs, that is the new NCAA football game. It's out now on all platforms. And I want to tell you something. You know, when you get older, and no, I'm not like old. Um, you know, you and your friends, you know, you all have full-time jobs, you get married, you have families, everybody moves on. The fact that my friends and I are able to stick together as long as we have means the world to me. And to be a part of this dynasty mode with them, they'll never know how much it means to me, but it means a lot. I know it's corny and it may sound like bullshit, but I'm a sentimental guy. I cherish who I have while I have them because you never know what life throws at you. With that said, dynasty mode. Look, instead of making trades and signing free agents, you got to start recruiting teams and players. And recruitment mode is difficult, folks. I am telling you right now, recruitment mode does not screw around. When it comes to recruiting players, you got certain amount of hours you have to work with. When it comes to scheduling them for visits or bringing in the family to try to convince this player, offering scholarships, you have limited resources to do what you can to get these players to want to go to your school. Now, in my dynasty mode with my friends, we all are Mountain West Conference teams. I'm Wyoming. That's just what I end up picking. Other teams were taken. I pick Wyoming anyway. But in my own personal one, I picked Georgia State University. Why? The Georgia State University Panthers. Georgia State is where my dad went to college back in the 80s. It's where he graduated from. It's his alma mater. It's funny because back then they didn't have a football team. They do now. And they have had decent success. I think they're 3-1 in bowl games, maybe 3-2. But they're still a fairly young program. But it's just fun to play as real players and see the real traditions. And of course, you know, it's always fun to pick a certain team that you love and face off against a rival team, like your Mizzou facing off against Kansas or Georgia or something. But I'm going to tell you a couple things, folks, about this game that can drive you nuts. Number one, the O-line blocking is ass. I'm sorry. Pass blocking, even if you set it to where it might be better, yeah, no, I'm sorry. Not so much. It is not that great of a blocking scheme. I think the AI, but I also think it's just the AI's waited 15 years, or I'm sorry, not 15. It feels like 15, but they've waited 10 years, 10, 11 years to get back to our level. So they're coming in hot. So that's how I look at it. The recruiting is hard, but you don't want it to be super easy either. So I'm going to be honest with you, folks. In the grand scheme of things, it's a fun game. I know a lot of people are going to probably crap on it if they struggle. And believe me, I have struggled. I have definitely struggled in this game. I have thrown so many picks and have fumbled in the red zone plenty. I've missed potential game-winning field goals. It don't matter. If I had to give the game on a scale of 1 to 10, I would genuinely give it, and I could always go into a deeper review. I would genuinely give it about an 8.8. Maybe 8.8 to 9. I do think that, especially, do I think it lived up to the hype? Not particularly. But that's not so much the game's fault. This was hyped up for 10 years. Like, that is a lot to ask for. It's kind of like when Star Wars The Force Awakens came out. That's a lot to ask for a movie that you've waited 10 years to see. It is what it is, but at the end of the day, I really enjoyed the game. I enjoy it. I'm not even thinking about Madden at this point. So, yeah, that is kind of where I am at with everything. Yeah, so that's my somewhat Spark Notes review of NCAA 24 or 25. And yes, I wish it had mascot mode like 2014's version did. That said, we're going to wrap it up this evening here on Roundabout Sports. I want to thank everybody for tuning in who did. I know it's a little bit different of a show this evening. But understand that next week, if you're tuning in, and I'm going to promote the hell out of it to make sure you all know, next week, we are not airing Roundabout Sports on Wednesday. We are airing it on Monday, August 5th, 7 o'clock. I know I'm a big Monday Night Raw fan, so it's going to suck missing the first hour, but it's going to be totally worth it because I'm going to have the pleasure of talking to Emmy Award-winning host and producer Todd Blackstock from STL TV. He was formerly with KFNS. He's with Classic Rock 93.1. Great sports personality. Fantastic guy. So, yes, I even have a shorter week to work with to get ready for episode 98. But that'll be Monday, August 5th at 7 p.m. Central Time. So, keep that in the brain, folks. That being said, we'll be back on our normal Wednesdays on August 14th with Michael Langston from KMOX. Episode 100, folks, August 21st. It'll be myself, Hollywood James Knox. It'll be Andy Heckroth, from Redbird Rants. And a special guest. I can't tell you yet. And Jimmy, thank you for everything you do. I can't thank you enough. And thank you for tuning in. Ellie Joan, that means the most to me. We're going to close it now, as always, by putting up the NAMI helpline. For NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, that's 1-800-950-NAMI. 1-800-950-NAMI. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the lives of children and adults with mental illnesses and their families. And we put up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand that you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody that loves you and cares about you. And we all go through struggles in this world and in this life. That doesn't mean they need to be faced alone. And you are just a phone call, a text message, a visit, email away. And you could also be the listening ears and watchful eyes for somebody else who's struggling. There's a lot more love in this world that we need. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next Monday night. Until then, I'm the Maestro Jeremy Carr. And remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody.